Well, I think we do have some good number of people who have joined us. So, without further ado, let's start. So, first of all, myself. So, hey everyone, I'm Sarthak Srivastava, currently a third year Kalvium from Squad 44, and I'm going to be the host for today's Tech Talk. And today we have with us as a guest Ram Kumar Ramchandran, who is a seasoned IT professional with a career in tech spanning about roughly 25 years, which is, I think, more than the time we are born. So yeah, he comes from a family of three IT brothers, and he came to Bangalore in around 1998 and started his career in Wipro as a systems engineer, and then ventured in starting new areas of work for Sasken Communications in around 2003. Post that, he began working with product development organizations, started with setting up an office for a small entity called Motive Communications, which was later acquired by Alcatel-Lucent, a telecom giant. This was subsequently picked up by Nokia Networks, and after a decade-long stint here, he worked for Amadeus, a travel company, and there he worked till COVID. Post-COVID, he joined GE, which was later spun off as GE Healthcare, and most recently, he has worked with a company named Dyson, which is a manufacturing company, and there he is heading their IT enterprise architecture, defining their technology strategy. And currently, he stays in South Bangalore with a lovely family of four, his wife, and two boys. So let me just give you a brief of how our format is going to be. So I think since working with these big joints and coming from one of the most prestigious colleges of India, BITS Pilani, he really might have some really great experiences and some really great life lessons to share with us. So he'll be telling us that. And between those, if someone of you has any doubt or wants to talk about something, you can feel free to raise your hand, and then and if you're not comfortable with that, you who can just post your queries in the Q&A section. And now it's a time to welcome him. And to welcome him, I would request all of you one thing. Just use the claps emoji from the emoji section to give him a really great and an applauding welcome. So yeah,
Mhm.
let's welcome Ram Kumar Ramchandran. Hey Ram.
Hey, thank you, Sarthak. Um, First things first, am I audible and can you see my screen?
Yes, you are completely audible and your screen is visible too.
Okay, that's very good. Uh, nice. Okay, good. Hey, thanks for the warm welcome, Sarthak. I'm Ram Kumar. You all can call me Ram. A little bit more about my background. I was born and brought up in Chennai under the watchful eyes of my grandparents. While I did my basic education and schooling in Chennai, I've spent more than half my life in Bangalore. Like Sarthak mentioned, I moved here for my work in late 90s. As you can see, I'm both by education and by profession a software engineer. It has been a little more than a couple of decades since I've been working in this industry. Um, what I specialize is in building products and solutions using different and emerging technologies across multiple domains and verticals. I've been fortunate to work in some of the illustrious companies with rich heritage, just like what Sarthak mentioned. However, communications, networking, and the telecom domain has been the most prominent one of them in which I've worked. I've spent a lot of time there. And then obviously, travel and hospitality comes next. But I have a very special interest in realizing products that impacts and touches human lives. They generally fall in the IoT and the healthcare space. Right. That's about me. Now, for those curious minds, you will notice there is this RA square that's right up there on the top right corner. Of course, I think it's fairly easy to figure out that both my first name and last name, the two letters, start with RA, and that's possibly why it is RA square. But actually, there is another special reason to it, which you will all realize and figure out as to why there is a square mentioned there during the course of this session. Now, I know it's an hour or so post the lunch, but there are these certain tricks that typically a post-lunch session presenter should employ to keep you all, let's say, curious and interested in the content. And Sarthak, if you feel the interest levels and the engagement levels goes down, you know what, we can start quizzing them as we go through these sessions. So that can be a first question that you may want to ask for those. You know, it's always good to do these sessions, particularly when you are in a college, because you can always get into this lecturer mode. You know, the carrot and stick policy always works.
This really
But
sounds
that
great,
aside,
I think, for sure.
sure. Then again, let's see, let's make the best use of our next 40-45 minutes. Okay. With that, let me begin. Look, I have been associated with the co-founder of Kalvium, Mr. Rajesh, even before the days of Kalvium. Okay. I've always had special interest in building a strong connection or a bridge between the educational institutes and the corporate world, because I've always felt a need for one, and Kalvium is actually serving that purpose well. Now that's how my connection with Rajesh was built, and then subsequently Mr. Prakash and Abhishek as well. So when Kalvin reached out to me for these Tech Talk series with a bouquet of topics, um, I instead proposed to share some of my experiences in terms of my life lessons, and let's say with the spirit of the upcoming new year that's looming around the corner, they were very gracious to firstly accept and permit me to share these learnings with you all, right? So basically, what you will see now is things that I've learned over the course of a no long-term career that I've spent. That said, I started to ponder on what are those learnings that I should share, right? Now, firstly, I wanted to understand my sources of learning, right? So I started to sit down and collect my thoughts with the intent of providing an illustration of at least one lesson from these sources. So where did I learn from was the first question that I asked. Typically, I have learned this from four different channels or sources. So if you think about it, could typically be true for most of you as well, right? So first up, let's see the channels before I start sharing the learning. So all of you here have registered for a bachelor's degree in Kalvium, predominantly in the IT sector. So what do you guys do on a regular basis? You all attend classes, you all attend these sort of tech talks or lectures, you'll conduct experiments, you'll all work out your theorems, write down your algorithms, test out your code. You know, you do a lot of these kind of things. So what is common in all of these? Um,
Anyone who wants to answer, feel free to raise your hand.
yeah, and the clue is keep it very, very simple. The answer is not complex.
Yeah, just say what comes to your mind. Anybody? No, I think they are good.
Initial first mover, let's say inertia. So what did I mention? I mean, I said you all do this and that and stuff, right? So basically, you all do something to learn. What I mean by that is you all perform certain activity. This is one of the best ways to learn anything, any skill. Basically, you do it yourself, and thereby you learn it as you do it, right? It can be
Hey, Mohammed, can you turn off your mic? I think you have a lot of background noise. Hey, Shaheen, can you? Yeah, yeah, Ram, you can just continue. It was a minor inconvenience. Uh, Ram, I think your video is freezed and we cannot hear you. Can you like check? Mhm.
Ram, we can go ahead.
So actually there is some issue with Ram's system. He is rejoined the meeting. Can we just wait for 1 or 2 minutes? Great. Thank you.
Hey, hello, folks. I'm back. Just give me one moment. I will get my content shared as well.
Sure.
Okay. Can you all see me, hear me, and us as well the screen? My apologies for the interruption.
Yeah, it's all going well, so you can continue.
All right. So I kind of left it at the point that where do we learn? What are the different sources of learning? And I said, you do something and you learn, right? I mean, so you it could be any kind of skill that you want to learn. It could be a subject that you learn in a typical academic fashion, or it could also be acquiring new skills like, let's say, karate, taekwondo, or let's say you're practicing a new technique in a chosen area of interest, whether it's music or yoga, whatever it may be. So that's the best way, in my opinion, for anybody to learn. There's another very interesting way to learn, which is sit back, relax, and do nothing. um, you'll be you'll find it very interesting that you will still learn. Have you all seen this 5-star ad where this guy uh, sits and does nothing, but he gets a lot of accolades? That's another way of learning. Mind you, in the real world, this channel of learning most often ends up as a mistake, or you might have missed something. So let's not forget that you will learn from your mistakes as well, because mistakes teach you lessons that you will never forget in your life. Now, in my opinion, it's generally okay to make mistakes. uh, Ensure that you don't repeat them. Okay. So basically, you learn. You don't do, you still learn. So let's see the third way, or the channel of learning. And this is one of the most popular way to learn, which is basically you learn from others. Basically, you're picking up from others' brain or others' action. It's a very interesting channel, right? Learning from others by watching them or following them, or getting influenced by them. This is a very inspiring way of learning.
Aram, I think your video is freezed again and we cannot hear you. Uh, yeah, so I just had a call with Ram. He's rejoining us again in maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes something. Till then, you guys can. Guys, till then, if you have any questions to ask or any specific thing to ask from Ram, you can feel free to just, post your questions in the Q&A section.
Okay. Am I?
Yes, you are audible now.
Yeah. So I'm really sorry, team. There's something terribly wrong. My system just keeps rebooting. I don't know if it's going to happen again. But let's give it another try now. Hopefully, my screen is also shared. You all can see it.
Yes, your screen is visible, Ram.
Okay. I'll try and quickly take from where I left. So I spoke about the best way to learn, which is to do it yourself. The other way to learn from your mistakes, which is you don't do anything, you still learn. The third one is an inspiring way to learn, which is typically going to last longer. And the last one is not very hard to guess. In the same lines, you learn from others mistakes, right? There are a lot of people who tries and attempts things and it doesn't work, but when you pick up those learnings from them and you try, it works for you. So who doesn't like a cheat code in life, right? So with those four sources of learning and with a lot of these interruptions that we've had, let's begin. I know this is something that I wanted to share. Basically, what is that lessons that I have learned? And don't be worried. There are only 3 to 4 of them, so it'll go quickly. There was a question. So what I did was, Sarthak and team helped me collate some questions some of you might have had. One of the questions at this point was, what is one major thing to keep in mind about adulting and learning from life? This is a question from somebody here. So I'll give you not one but four in the next, let's say, 30 to 40 minutes. With that, let's start. Yeah, so I did not merely signal the start of the presentation with that image. It's more relevant to you all. We have about, let's say, 1,000 to 1,000 odd students registered in Kalvium as of today. and probably, I don't know, a little close to 100 people. I don't know how many are attending today. I lost the count after multiple rejoins. So in a few months, or in, let's say in a couple of years, most of you are in your different stages of graduation. In a couple of years or so, you'll all be graduating out of college, and you're going to start a new journey. This start that you see here, it refers to the start of your job, your career, or a new business. You may want to become an entrepreneur, you may want to become a sports person or a musician, whatever you may want to start. I am not here to debate that, but I want to share some of my thoughts on why you should focus on how you start more than what you start. I think it's an important question, isn't it? You've got to have a purpose in your start, in your beginning, in your goal. No matter what you want to achieve in your life, you should aim for excellence. I think you should be aiming for being the best in the business. Whatever you choose, you've got to be the best in the business. You can keep all the practical beliefs aside and reach for the sky. You have to aim high and reach for the sky. It is completely okay to have a wild ambition, but instead of not even having a goal, it's okay to have a wild ambition. You should, and the most important thing is, you should not have any inhibition or restriction when you start. It is important to have a sense of curiosity and stay open. I repeat, it's completely okay to, let's say, I want to land on the moon, especially for those who are all fairly young, as young as you. Now, there was a pertinent question one of you have asked, which was pushed to me. How do you set realistic and achievable goals for the next year? Remember, there is always a difference between a vision and a goal. In simple terms, goals are recurring, transient, short term, like, for example, a year, a quarter. While visions are typically for longer term. I'm sure you all are aware of it. Now, I did mention that keep your realism aside and aim really big and let it be crazy. I'll give you a simple example. I don't know how many of you here are chess followers. 2 weeks ago, Gukesh D from India became the 18th and the youngest world chess champion, very recently. For those chess followers, you all must have seen the viral video of an 11-year-old Gukesh giving an interview where he claims that he wishes to be the youngest world chess champion. Right? Nobody would have taken him seriously at that time because he was not even a grandmaster at that time. For those those who follow chess knows that grandmaster is the prerequisite, and that itself is a pretty big deal. But today it is reality, right? However impossible it may sound, it's good to be ambitious. There was another question that some of you have asked, what challenges did I face when I first started out, and how did I overcome them? And
Hello, excuse me.
Uh, Shivang, you can raise your hand if you want to ask something first. So,
was there a question?
no,
Okay,
no, I think you can
I'll
continue.
move. Yeah. So when it comes to me, you will notice this top right hand, that happy-go-lucky frog, enjoying. That's the channel of my learning in this particular case. I started my career as a happy-go-lucky individual with not so high ambition. Had I aimed high, I can tell you that I could have accomplished the same that I've done now, maybe in a faster and an efficient way, or possibly I would have created one of the world's best software products, right? Today, I don't have the same risk appetite that I had when I started my career. So luckily, it wasn't so late. So I did go through my learnings. I could pull back certain things, but I still envy you all because you have the secret sauce of achieving greatness right when you are at the initial stage of your career. Okay. All right. Now, while I personally never dreamt big, you know what? My grandma always dreamt big for me. That's typical grandmas, right? I used to be a chatty young boy, talks a lot. While most of the elders in my house didn't take me seriously, my grandmom always used to tell me, hey, ஒரு நாள் பாருடா உன் பேச்சை இந்த ஊரே கேட்கும், which loosely translates as one day, in the future, hundreds of people will listen to your speech. And yeah, thanks to you all for making my grandma's prophecy come true. On that lighter note, I will try to view these learnings through my grandma's prism as well. Okay, so good. What do we do then? Let's assume you have a very high goal. You had a very high goal, or a aim for excellence. Let's say you want to be the topper in your university. Or for some it could be to become an entrepreneur, or for some it could be to land on a job in your dream company. For others it could be to get promoted from one level to another level in a job, etc., etc. Let's for a moment fast forward and assume that you've achieved your goal. What's next? Once you've achieved your goal, what's next? Well, wondering what RRR is doing here? Clearly, neither is it an Oscar stage, nor do we have 3 long hours to watch this movie with my laptop breaking down every 2 minutes. I'm talking about 3 different R's. That is reset, refocus, and restart. Once you achieve your goal, you have to do these 3 R's. It is important. Otherwise, you will not only become stagnant and complacent, but there is also a high chance that you might become worse in what you are doing. Okay, remember, what took you to this level is not necessarily going to take you to the next level. By not resetting and refocusing yourself, or not resetting with your new goals, bad habits would set in and it can bring you down, just like how that building crumbles. So it's important for you to identify those cues and nip them at the earliest. And especially when you try to reset, it is very likely that you'll go off target. You may not be as good as you may want to be for achieving this new goal, but it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. Set a goal, perform badly, and recover slowly rather than perishing, right? Now, it's important to take baby steps, set mini goals, take one thing at a time to keep up your motivation levels. You might notice the top right corner telling that I learned this from others. Yes, I have looked upon a lot of industry experts and mentors that I've had in my life in order for me to pick up a lot of multifunctional skills and expertise that I had to learn constantly. For example, I started to build a lot of software at the beginning of my career in managing networking devices that were largely wired and connected, like the phone, IP phones, routers, switches, hubs, and things like that. When I looked up my mentors, they were easily able to converse and move around to the 3G, 4G, 5G space in those days, the wireless side of things. It was very inspiring to see them learn and master those skills. And it was a very humbling experience for me personally to as well learn and go through that as a part of my career. Well, I did mention about the Gukesh example. Make it a point to go pick up the interview bit, as an interviewer asked him right after he became the world champion, what is his next step? I mean, it looks like being the world champion is the ultimate, but it's interesting what he answered. So I'll leave that to your curious minds to go check it out. There are a lot of popular other examples in different sectors. For example, we all know, at least people in my age, believe Sachin is the god of cricket. Every time he puts his foot on the ground, he went on to achieve some things which no other cricketer had achieved until then. No, it's very true of a lot of these champion sports personalities. Like, for example, in tennis, be it Novak or Federer or Nadal, or in football, Pele, Messi, Ronaldo, Maradona. So look, I'm not here to pick up a fan club fight, whether it's Muhammad Ali or Jesse Owens or Vishy Anand or Magnus. If you notice, all these champion players would have achieved something with a lot of excellence, and they would have achieved something which nobody else have achieved at that time, which is one of the reasons why we call them the GOAT. Only those who consciously believed to reset and restart made it to that list. Okay, now comes my grandma, right? Like all grandmas, she was very good in telling stories, right? I was probably 5-6 years old, and when that day when I came back from school, I was really elated, and I was hitting a high because I had won a storytelling competition, and everybody knew, courtesy my grandma's way of telling the story and the stories. So while she was the first one to celebrate my win and all that, she knew that I can't sit on these kind of past laurels. So she purposely started to slow down and cut down on her storytelling, and instead sort of pushed me and pointed me to the bookshelf and nudged me to go pick up a book and read it myself. So I inherently built a lot of curiosity and picked up this as a habit. Now, it's a different story that that habit was short-lived. But again, she clearly preempted me to reset and restart. Uh, right. So it looks like you should have a high goal or a aim for excellence and reset them. And as you keep achieving, looks like a nice recursive closed loop formula, right? What's next? Um, Checking on time. Anybody who knows what I'm going to talk about? Look, when you
Any
go through
guesses, guys?
yeah,
Do we have
I,
any guesses?
there is a giveaway on the picture. You can think about it and try attempt.
Guys, go on. You can just
Sure.
feel free to raise your hand and speak, or you can post it in the chats or Q&A. Just take a wild
Yeah.
guess that
Yeah.
what Sam is going to talk about next.
I'm sorry, I'm not even able to see the screen because I'm flipping between the presentation. And so if I've not seen your response, I'm sorry, but Sarthak will help me in getting that.
So we have a response from Manthan, from
Mhm.
mentors, that this book represents that our next step can be out of book learning, like learning through experiences, real world
Mhm.
learning.
Okay, nice. Good attempt. For sure. I mean, what I was trying to get towards this is, let's say you've achieved a goal and you figured this formula of resetting, and then you're kind of moving and navigating really nicely. You must have reached a stage in your life or career where you're probably doing really well, right? Now it's important to reflect on your own self, which is probably what the picture sort of gives it away there. You got to figure out the real you in yourself. Who am I, right? You can always do this with a lot of psychometric tests to introspect and reflect on your own self. No, don't shy away from looking for a coach, a counselor, a mentor, or a guide at any stage of your career. Remember, acceptance and submission are very important, and they're critical to achieve this self realization. And the most important thing once you do that is to build an ecosystem of trustable partners and a good set of team members. And then it needs to be a diverse set of team that should be at your disposal in order for you to collaborate. Okay. um, it's it's important to reflect and collaborate, and you will notice that the top right hand corner icon talks about learning from others mistakes. I wanted to hear from one of you guys whether you want to choose chess or tennis, and I can pick an example from either of them and then go on to explain this from a real life example.
Can you just repeat the question again? I didn't get
Yeah,
it.
the question is, I wanted to pick up a real life example of where you can learn from others, and I thought I'll pick one champion personality from either chess or let's say tennis, whichever be your anybody's preference here.
Okay, guys, go on. We can have the votes on chat. I think we have most of the people saying chess, so you can probably pick chess.
All right, chess. So I'll take Vishwanathan Anand, who has been a champion player, came out of India. He was, I don't know if you all know, he was the first ever grandmaster that India ever produced. He was also the first ever chess champion, world chess champion from India. He had achieved what nobody in India had achieved till then, not even dreamt of, which was his grandmaster title. You know what, he was at his 12th standard. He had just passed the exam or just about to pass the exam. So for him to achieve the grandmaster was a real big deal, because there was nobody before or after before him who had come to that stage, coming from India, where we didn't even have three norms of IM cleared by then. But once he achieved the GM norm, I guess in 1988, his performance started to deteriorate. For the next 1 year or so, he had a lot of poor performances. It's very interesting that what happened to him, according to him, was once he achieved that really big goal, or a big vision to be that grandmaster, he was finding it very difficult to motivate him and get to that stage, right? Get to the next level. Now, so during the course of his career, in chess, there's this concept called seconds, which are technically some sort of coach or a trainer whom they will work with. It's very interesting. He picked up a lot of youngsters in his team to prepare for his next levels. So he realized this mistake, and he figured out what he needs to do. It was also the advent of a little bit of computers and things like that. So he put together a team where he had some sort of a computer assistance, a very elderly person who was kind of a mentor guide for him, who he used to live out of Spain, because in those days it was only in Europe where these tournaments used to happen. And then he picked up a lot of youngsters in his team. I mean, incidentally, one of his seconds was from my own same school, my school junior. So I kind of heard these stories firsthand. For him, for a champion player to pick up and learn things from younger team members and elderly person was a very fascinating way to look at things. He put together a diverse set of team, reached out for support, realized that he needs to improve, and then got his career back. And it was only after that he won the world chess champion title 5 more times. So it's a remarkable sort of achievement for a person who goes through all these highs and still be able to maintain that level of excellence as they go on in their career. Now, coming to my personal story, I've seen a number of industry crisis, like Y2K, dot-com burst, 2008 financial crisis, 2011 ash cloud issue, most recently till COVID and stuff like that. I did understand a lot of my strengths, and more importantly than that is my areas of improvement, and reached out to a lot of well-wishers and industry veterans and mentors to equip myself to handle these sort of critical moments in my career. You have to be a step ahead and be prepared. Remember, you got to expect the unexpected always. And now comes my tidbit about my grandma. Well, these grandmas don't need any psychometric tests because they are walking life mirrors. That's how I see them, right? They'll exactly figure you out. They know what's running under your skin. They don't need these wires or lie detector tests or anything like that. Just a look or a touch, they'll figure it out. Right? There was this kiddish crime that I committed in the school, and I was really basically I helped my friend write an answer in his exam or something like that, and I was caught. So I came back from school with a lot of guilt and sadness, and one look at my face, she knew something was off. She's like, did your math teacher scold you, or did your examiner caught you, or rather catch you? I'm like, how the hell did she know? I mean, those were days there were no remote surveillance or WhatsApps and instant messages. She still figured it out. The best part is she not only understands that, she also had the right medicine for that. I mean, all I had to do was forget that and chill out. And she ensured that I connected back with a lot of my friends on that day. We had good fun. We went for a movie and all that stuff. But what I'll not tell you is what happened after my dad came back home. but grandmas are, eternal life coach.
That's
So,
actually true.
right. So what's next now? Now that it's important to strive for excellence, reset, refocus your goals regularly, and understand yourself and build a strong, diverse ecosystem, right? What's left now? I mean, at this stage, you must be a well-rounded expert, shining very well in the chosen area of interest, right? What is even left now? It's a very typical question, right? Now, what you're going to see is, at least the way I learned, is completely counterintuitive. I don't think I'm going to give this choice for anybody to guess, and that is disrupt. It's very counterintuitive. What I mean by that is disrupt your methodologies, disrupt your technologies, disrupt your practices. Give up yourself in terms of giving up your strength or an expertise. Basically, shake yourself up. Ask yourself the question: if you were a big elephant in the jungle, can you be nimble, and are you ready to walk on this tightrope? The fundamental thing here is to figure out to fail faster. It's important to be open and ready to unlearn. I think the cycle of learn, unlearn, and relearn is absolutely critical for everybody in any walk of life, right? This is what is going to keep your juices flowing as you go through a long journey in your life, whether it's in terms of your career or of your chosen interest. It don't While you go through this, do not forget to adapt and adopt new technologies, right? Sometimes it is better to initiate these self disruption rather than waiting for a tsunami to happen, because when it hits you, you will really not know what had happened, and you will not know how to react. Of course, you should know your strengths and take calculated risks. In my personal experience, as you can see on the top right, I did it myself. So I learn is a way of learning here. After about spending a couple of decades in the networking communication sort of industry, I was really doing well in my role, and I was kind of sleepwalking through my program, and I was this guy type, who's like walking on water types. So I chose to give up one of my core expertise, which was my domain skills. And of course, I banked on my other areas of strengths like people, product, process, and things like that. Trust me, that move helped me reassure myself that I have it in me to learn something totally new at that stage of my career. Of course, I started to use a lot of new technologies, cloud adoption, AI, and now Gen AI, all the way up to agentic AI. It never stops, right? So on a related note, there was this question that somebody asked: how did you achieve your passion with a lot of these other commitments that you might have in your life? Well, I'm going to disappoint you with this answer, but it is the truth. I personally believe being dispassionate allows you to get the best version of yourself, so that, you don't have any strings pulling you back. But I think that there's another part of this question as well, which is leading into the aspects of managing your time effectively. Thankfully, in my days, I did not have an Insta or a YouTube shot or a TikTok or a binge watch phenomenon going on at that point of time, right? So I think that sort of answers the question by itself. And there was another question from someone: what qualities or skills are most important for someone aspiring to excel in enterprise architecture and strategy, especially in rapidly evolving technology landscape? I think the answer is there in the bottom right: learn, unlearn, relearn while embracing new technology. Like I said, I started my career in structured programming days with C and what do you call Pascal, Foxco, those days. I don't know how many of you have known or seen it. Slowly transitioned myself into object-oriented guy, distributed systems, full stack development, machine learning, AI, Gen AI, agentic AIs. You have to keep doing this circle of learn, unlearn, relearn concept. Okay. Now, you all must have heard of this Kodak moment. No, I'm not talking about this getting the nice photo. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, there was a time in mid 70s and early 80s, Kodak was dominating the world of film photography. Those days, you used to load a film, and then you click the pictures, and you go to the lab and develop those films into photos that you see. So there was a young Kodak employee in 1976 or 8, I believe. He had invented the world's first self-contained digital photography, but Kodak did not want to disturb their pole position in the film photography. And you know what happened? The rest is history. We don't see this company. We don't see that technology. It was brushed aside by a tsunami, right? Now, it's time for this grandma's prism. Typically, as a toddler, they generally pick up their immune system in a longer period of time. It takes time for them to build their immune system. So until then, it'll be a field day for the parents. What, visiting their doctors, clinics, medical shops while managing their work, etc. As a parent of two, I can attest to that. So if a kid is doing really well health wise in that month or week or whatever, you don't want to disturb the rhythm as a parent, right? But that's when these grandmas would enter the scene. They'll come with this bottle with a spoon, and my grandma used to give me what is called as castor oil once in few months. Now it induced diarrhea. It sounds like a clear recipe for self disruption. But wait, it is now acknowledged that castor oil is a good laxative substance, It is used for helping in cleansing the stomach, and it's a good detox agent. There you go. She did it again. Looks like the grandma has cracked all the lessons that are needed for anybody to succeed, or let's say go well in their life. So on an imaginary basis, if I were to if you were to give it to the grandmas, and there were books written, management books written about grandmas, I would just imagine, the titles of the books to be like Grandmas Eat Lost, Seven Habits of Great Grandma, start with grandma and life lessons from the grandmas, right? So that's on a funnier side, on a lighter note. So jokes apart, I want to leave you all with this one final slide. There was also a question: what is your message to us? So this sort of summarizes it. So it may sound again counterintuitive. So please bear with me. You all are students, and you will complete your graduation and education in a year, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on which year you are. But what I'm going to tell you is, make sure that you're a lifelong student. What I mean is, do not stop learning. I think that's the most important lesson that I've learned in my life, and I'd like to pass it on to you guys. And at this point, there's this question about, somebody asked me this: how do you maintain consistency throughout your journey of success? And then there's a follow-up question: how do you deal with failure? Now, in my opinion, if you're able to balance humility and confidence, that will ensure consistency. This is my first-hand experience. And if you notice, all through the last 30, 40 minutes, I did not give you guys any secret of success. Neither did I focus on giving you a recipe for being a successful person. The point here is to chase for value creation and satisfaction more than a success. In fact, on a lighter note, I always say that if you want to avoid failure in your life, stop chasing success. Okay, it's something that I strongly believed in, and I'll urge you to think about it. Right now, whatever path you choose, stay humble and be a confident student. Now, with that, I'm sort of going to wrap up these life lessons with another last final counterintuitive punch. There are no standard lessons in life. There are no templates. Okay, life is full of mysteries. You got to stay true to yourself and be authentic. That will guarantee the very least, which is, it'll get the best performance out of you. Okay, be happy to bring out the best from out of yourself and leave the rest. Control the controllables. That was my story and my lessons. And you folks create your own life lessons as you grow and flourish in your career. And the last square, now that you will recollect why there was this square that I started off with. All the content was in the square. The last one, there's
Ram,
no
we have a question from one of our students, that how do we build confidence to, like, do all of this stuff, being
so
authentic.
true. I think so. The first thing that I'd stress is, do it yourself and learn it. I think learning is so critical. The moment you start learning, confidence is a matter of reflecting your own skills and knowledge. Wisdom shows up as confidence in every individual. So focus on the learning. Focus on the learning is absolutely critical. Keep reviewing your goals, resetting it, constant learning, and have a foot on the ground. Right. I think with humility comes confidence as well.
That's
Um,
absolutely true. Yeah.
yeah, sure, thanks. So there's no prizes for guessing the last one, grandma's rock. So with that summary, I wrap up my talk, and we have a few minutes. I can take any questions. You all can connect to me, offline. I will leave my LinkedIn ID here. Thanks a lot for your patient listening and putting up with my laptop reboots. This is Ram. I'm signing off. Have a wonderful evening. But if there are questions, I'm willing to stay a few more minutes to take the round.
Well, like learning through all of this talk, I actually agree to most of the points you say, but I feel that we have a lot of students here who just are in their first year or second year something. So they might not agree because I used to feel the same that if I reset, if I restart, then I'm going to sort of be left behind the race. So like
Hmm.
with time, I think you will learn that there is no race in life. You don't have any sort of race with others. It's all
Yeah,
about just you growing up with time and how much you experience, how
true.
much you learn. And since working past 16 months, I'm working for one company, and there I met some of my seniors, and then they taught me this very thing that that I am just 21. Like we too feel that we are in 19, we are finished with our teenage, we are adults, we don't know this, we don't know that, but it's actually that you are just in your 20s. You don't have anything to lose. You are pretty much you have only things to gain. So just try out, reset, and since the field you are a part of, it's tech. So I don't think tech only needs people who are good coders. They just
Mm.
need people who are lifelong learners and who have this capability to take risks if you want to move forward. And the point you told that there is no life lessons, I actually also heard this in one of the newsletters that I am subscribed to. That the author says there is no single recipe for living. There might be a way that works for me, but it pinches you, and the vice versa can also happen. So I think, yeah, I mean, if the students we have here, they do understand this at this very stage in the first year itself, and they start to, just take risks. They just want to do something, just do it. I think if they follow, they will learn, or else time is and experiences are the best teachers, I believe.
Sure, definitely. Pretty well put, Sarthak.
So,
I
any
thought I
guys?
saw someone raising their
Yeah,
hand. I don't know
yeah,
who.
sure. So please feel free to raise your hand and we'll let you speak. If you want to ask something or want to say something, share something, please feel free, guys. Or maybe you can just put it in the chats or Q&A. I'll just speak it out for you. Do we have anyone who wants to say something? Okay, we have M- Marzook here who wants to say something. So yeah, go on, Marzook. You can speak. I don't- Can you unmute me yourself, Marzook? Are you able to? We cannot hear you. You are on mute. Okay, so he's asking through chats. How discipline is important on road to success? That's his question.
Oh, so how is discipline important in road to success? Okay, so I'm a person who do not subscribe to success, but I can definitely attest to discipline. If you have to do, if you have to bore your life, that means you've achieved a higher level of discipline. Because if you're going to do things in a monotonous way, that's how discipline sets in. You have to figure out what is that path that you want to go for, and then do those things repeatedly, even if it's boring to you or others. I think this is something that even somebody like Virat Kohli keeps saying. He will not be bored to do the same routine, eat the same food, but what a champion player he is. So that's I think critical.
Okay. And we do have one more question from Aman here that how can we avoid overthinking?
The do nothing guy, eat 5 star.
That's the best. Or one more way I can say is just don't avoid, just do it. And with time, you will sort of realize that the things I'm thinking about, how much, sort of irrelevant they are. You
I
don't
think,
need to.
yeah, I think be in the present, right? I mean, I use this example always. No matter how quick the bowler bowled and you got beaten or whatever, he still has to run up and come and then bowl the next ball. Just focus on the next ball that you have to play. Take one step at a time. It's the next move on the board in chess that counts. You'll have to live in the present. There's no point in crowding your thoughts and complicating your assessments. Just stay in the present. Do that next important thing in your life.
Yeah, very well said. That's actually true. I think if we stay in the present, then we don't have this brain fog and this that thing is removed. Overthinking is itself removed then.
Yeah, there is this question. How can what was the question? It just vanished from my screen.
Uh, l- Let me say it. How can we analyze and tell the path we choose is correct or wrong?
Yeah, see, I mean, it's there's no right or wrong path. I was swept by this IT revolution that just happened. It's not that I chose it, right? Similarly, there are things that's going to happen. I think it's the more important thing is to keeping yourself available for any opportunities that might come up with, because you, let's say at your stage in the college, you are not someone who can go create a new opportunity. Of course, you can launch your own company, be an entrepreneur, and things like that. But since you mentioned about the career path, focus on the basics, right? I mean, there are a lot of these technologies, and it's also good to bounce these with certain experts in the industries. You may have a liking. There was one question which I did not take up here. Somebody had asked me, how do I become an expert cloud engineer or something like that. Now, that's a very typical, specific question pertaining to an individual, which I cannot give a generic response here. So, if somebody is interested in, finding out their career, I can offer my help as what at my best level. That's one thing. But it's good to talk to industry experts and people to check on what you're doing, bounce your thoughts, find a sounding board to validate your next steps.
Well, I think this question was particularly answered in the talk itself at the point when you said that just reflect and get to know who you are. So I think when you get to know who you are and you know that this is the thing which I like, which I can do without expecting any sort of outcome. So I think you will automatically be the best of it. Then you will eventually achieve the success which people say. I mean, it might have a different meaning for you, for me, for anyone else. So I think being yourself is the part which you told is the key answer here.
Sure.
And we have one more question. How can we stay updated in our profession consistently?
Oh, well, I mean, you would have seen the answer. I mean, I started my career even before Java was even, let's say, in the market. There is no point in sitting and saying that I am a mainframe guy. I will work only on those technologies. You got to keep updating yourself, keep learning. I think, like I said in my last, the one learning, that one takeaway for you from this session should be never stop learning. You have to keep yourself up to date, no matter what new technology comes up. I mean, the question of how, I mean, there are plenty of ways, but bottom line is put the hard yards, bend your back, do the things you have to do. You have to learn.
Okay, then anything else? And we have one more question from Vijay Shri. How does focusing on the process contribute to achieving success in the long run?
Yeah. Okay. You might think that I'm stealing Dhoni's words. He keeps saying, right? I mean, focus on the process and not the results. I mean, there's a lot of truth to it. If you're consistently waking up early, learning at least one or two things every day, there's definitely bound to be some results that will come out very soon. So, definitely there's a good amount of learning that you will go through when you just focus on the process. But the hard part is you will start focusing on the results, and you can either get elated or disappointed, and that's the difficult part to curb. It's easy to do the process, focus on the process and do things. Keep your mind away from the results.
That's actually true again.
Yeah,
Okay,
skill or
so
certificate, is it important? Look, I mean, it's like this, right? I mean, you all are doing a degree. How important is this to get a job? I think a skill or a certificate is as important as a job. I mean, there are certain prerequisites. Let's say if you're a rookie in the industry, and you want to become a cloud practitioner or an expert, having an AWS certification or a Azure certification is definitely going to help you. Let's say, get that much closer to the ambition that you have. Now, the reverse question, is that absolutely mandatory? Look, you can also learn these skills on the job. It's a matter of how confident you present yourself when an opportunity comes. So there's no, I wouldn't say go do this or don't do this. It's individual's preference there.
Great. So we'll just be taking like last one or two questions, and then we'll just probably wrap up the
Yeah.
talk.
In my
So anyone?
is for the two breakdowns during the session that wasn't expected.
That's pretty okay. Okay, we have a question. That how can I boldly say no to my friends or unnecessary things when I know I will have to face them tomorrow?
Okay, you want to say no to your friend? uh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he or she is a true friend, you can say yes or a no. It shouldn't really matter. Be authentic. Be authentic. I think you have to be yourself and speak. I think focusing on values. If people know you more than for what you are, for the values that you stand, you are not going to face any difficulty in standing up and speaking up the truth, no matter whether it's your friend or your boss. I mean, typically the difficult question that I keep getting from a lot of people is, how do you say no to your boss and stuff like that? But I think focusing on value creation, standing up for the truth and values, be authentic. I think you should be true to yourself.
That's great. Okay, so any last question, guys? Feel free. Uh, no, I don't think we have any more questions from our students here. So I think we can wrap up the call now. And so before all this, can we just use the clap emoji again to give a big round of applause to Ram and to yourselves for being here,
Yeah,
for
thanks.
learning new things?
Yeah, thanks to you all for patiently listening through this session. You know, it was just my story. You are going to create your own stories tomorrow. So all the best and good luck for you all. Have a good evening.
Fingers crossed, guys. Okay, then it was a really nice time, Ram. This 1 hour was absolutely quite insightful, and I think the folks got many new things to learn, and I hope that they'll follow along. So it was really great.
Thank you. Thanks for this
Yeah.
opportunity. Thank you, Kalvi, as well. Bye bye.
All right then. Bye, Ram. Okay, guys. See you.